Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Lately, something's been happening to your reflection, not just in the mirror, but in the eyes of others. You've been catching glances, lingering stares, and that quiet tension, like people sense something different, but don't know how to say it out loud. It's like they are waking up to something in you. But the truth is, you're just now waking up to it yourself. You're starting to look more and more attractive. But it's not because you changed your hair, or your clothes, or your posture. It's because you started loving yourself as God's masterful creation. You stopped treating yourself like a mistake that needs to be fixed, and started realizing you were never broken, just buried, just distorted by the voices that told you you weren't enough. You're not just getting more beautiful. You're catching up with the beauty that was always there, waiting for you to finally see it. That's the shift. You used to call them flaws. Now you see them as design. You used to shrink under compliments. Now you don't flinch, because deep down you agree. And not in an arrogant way, not in a way that needs validation, but in the quiet, grounded way that says, yes, this is who I've always been. This is what happens when your self-image starts syncing with heaven's image of you. When you finally surrender to the idea that maybe, just maybe, God didn't mess up when He made you. That maybe your face, your presence, your aura was intentional, designed, spoken into time. It's not that you didn't used to be beautiful. Of course you were. Of course you are. But now you know it. And that knowing, that is what they're seeing. That frequency is what they're feeling. Beauty is not just symmetry. It's resonance. It's not just what you see. It's what you feel when you're around someone. And right now, you are vibrating on a frequency that even your body had to respond to. Your eyes look clearer. Your skin looks brighter. Your expression holds a softness that can't be manufactured. That's not just glow. That's God. That's what happens when you stop rejecting your own reflection and start agreeing with heaven. When you stop searching for love and start radiating it from within. When you realize that your worth was never tied to perfection, but to presence, to purpose, to the breath in your lungs and the fire in your spirit. Some people won't understand the shift. They'll think you did something new, started something different. But what really happened was this. You started listening to truth. You stopped chasing what the world said was attractive, and you started becoming magnetic, because you're no longer trying to be liked. You're loving yourself with the same reverence God used when He created you. That's a different level of glow. That's not surface, that's soul. And now, people are responding to something they can't name. They're responding to freedom, to the peace in your energy, to the love you finally decided to give yourself. They feel safer around you without knowing why. They feel inspired without you saying a word, because your presence is no longer diluted by doubt. And whether or not they compliment you, they feel it. Whether or not they say anything, they notice. You're no longer begging to be seen, because now you see yourself. And it shows. You can't fake this frequency. It's the kind of beauty that speaks before you open your mouth. That enters a room before you do. That leaves people thinking about you long after you've left. Not just because of your looks, but because of your light. And the truth is, it's always been there. It was just waiting for you to stop dimming it to fit in. You're no longer trying to be everyone's cup of tea. You've become living water, only meant to quench certain souls. You don't need to chase admiration. You've become admiration in motion. So don't be surprised if people look at you differently now. It's not because you changed overnight. It's because you finally stopped arguing with your own radiance and started walking in agreement with God. Some won't say anything. They'll just watch, like something about you confuses them or stirs something they don't know how to handle. Your energy used to wobble. You used to carry yourself with disclaimers, with apology, with explanation, with hesitation. But now, you walk like you belong, because you finally believe you do, and when someone finally believes that, when someone fully accepts their own divine design, the body reacts. The voice settles. The light shows up in their skin, in their presence, in the space between words. It's not about looking a certain way, it's about living a certain way. And that way is love. You're not chasing love anymore, you're rooted in it. And that's the most beautiful thing a soul can wear. You see, this isn't just about how you look, it's also about how you carry yourself. The way you move from knowing, not from doubt. You're not acting anymore. You're not bending, blending, or shape-shifting trying to be approved. And ironically, that's the very thing that makes you attractive now. You've dropped the weight of needing to be liked and picked up the truth of being loved. Not just by others, by God, and finally, by you. You don't walk into the world the same when you've made peace with your reflection. When you've forgiven yourself for the years you couldn't see what heaven already saw. When you stop mourning the past versions of you who only knew survival and start honoring the one who knows so much more. This is not a season of becoming beautiful. It's a season of realizing you always were. And now your body knows it. Your face carries it. Your walk echoes it. You're not attractive because you've figured out some secret formula. You're attractive because your energy is finally in agreement with your truth. There's no conflict in your glow anymore, no shame in your softness, no apology in your elegance. You're not decorating yourself with things to be noticed. You're radiating something that can't be replicated. And the people who are meant for you, they will feel it before they ever understand it. Because this beauty isn't surface deep, it's soul anchored. It's the kind that doesn't fade with time, because it's not made of time. It's made of presence, of divine alignment, of sacred remembrance. And maybe that's what they see. They're not looking at perfection. They're looking at someone who finally remembered who the heck they are. Someone who stopped criticizing the vessel and started honoring the spirit that fills it. Someone who said, I don't need to become more, I just need to stop hiding what I already am. This is why some people feel speechless around you now, why they fumble for words, or look twice, or act like you've changed when you're simply clearer. It's not the makeup, not the outfit, not the angle. It's the energy. It's the frequency of self-love that echoes the Creator's love. The vibration of peace that's louder than any beauty standard. It's the decision to be soft and powerful at the same time. And that's what people are drawn to. It's not your job to explain it. You're not responsible for their reactions. You're not here to convince anyone that you're worthy of being seen. You're here to shine anyway. To walk in that quiet radiance that says, I know who I am, and it's beautiful. Not because I said so, but because God already did. You don't need to keep adjusting your brightness to match their comfort. Your glow wasn't made for dim rooms. It was made to rise, to reflect, to remind people what divine beauty actually looks like and how it feels. So keep shining. Keep walking with this truth. Keep loving yourself like you finally believe you're worth it, because you are. And if they stare, let them. If they wonder, let them. You're not becoming someone new. You're just finally seeing what God always saw, and now, so is everyone else. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. You've been asking why things have felt so strange lately. Why you're both glowing and restless, peaceful but stirred. seen, but still waiting. That's not confusion. That's activation. There's a reason it feels like you've been standing at the edge of something, but the ground hasn't shifted yet. It's because the next phase of your life isn't something you walk into. It's something God ignites. You are not here to just be seen. You are here to be used. Not in the way this world uses people and drains them, but in the way heaven uses instruments, polished, tuned, prepared for something specific, something sacred, something powerful. You are about to be activated, not for display, but for deployment. God didn't refine you for decoration. He didn't walk you through fire just to let you shine under soft lighting and polite applause. You were built like a sword, not a showpiece. A force, not a follower. A vessel, not a victim. You've gone through things that didn't make sense at the time. You've endured delays that made your gift feel wasted. You've had to sit in silence while people with less depth got the stage. But the reason was this: God didn't want your platform to be louder than your power. And now, the power is ready. You're like a key that only turns when the exact lock appears. And the lock? It's arriving. A moment, a connection, a need that fits your spirit so perfectly, it'll feel like the entire universe was waiting for you to step forward. And in that moment, you'll be used. But not like before. Not from burnout. This time, it won't drain you. It will awaken you. It'll feel like breathing underwater and realizing you were always built to swim in the deep. It'll feel like standing in fire and not getting burned, because you've become fire yourself. You've been trained in unusual ways. People saw delay. God called it stealth development. Others thought you were isolated. Heaven knew you were in spiritual boot camp. And while they looked for instant influence, you were being wired to carry weight. The kind of weight that shifts atmospheres and unlocks hearts. Some of you have been feeling an ache that doesn't make sense. Like something is calling you but not saying where to go yet. Like the map is downloaded but the route is still hidden. That's not a mistake. That's the final stage before activation, because when God activates you, it won't be subtle. It won't be quiet, and it definitely won't be safe. You won't just be promoted in front of people, you'll be positioned in front of purposes. You'll walk into places where your presence does the talking before you do. This is not about being busy, it's about being deployed with precision. And just like a power line hums before it lights up a city, you've been vibrating with potential. Heaven has already issued the command. The signal is already moving through your spirit. You're not waiting for a door anymore. You are the door. God will use your voice to answer someone's prayer, your presence to shatter someone's despair, your obedience to unlock someone else's calling. This is why the warfare increased, right when you thought you'd finally found peace. It was a test before release. You don't test a parachute when it's in storage. You test it at 15,000 feet, right before the jump. And that's where you are, right before the jump, right before the switch flips, right before the voice says, now. So if it's felt confusing, still intense, it's because God is about to use you in a way that even you didn't see coming. And suddenly, it will begin. But not with fireworks, not with cameras, with something much quieter and much holier. It starts with the small inner knowing that you can't go back to normal. Not because you're stubborn, but because you've changed. Even if you go back, that won't feel familiar either. Because you've outgrown that life, and your body knows it before your mind does. There's a strange, almost holy discomfort that settles in when the old environment no longer fits the new version of you. Like wearing shoes 2 sizes too small. Only now, you're aware that the pinch is not a test, it's a signal. a signal that you're not meant to walk that same path anymore. That's how activation really begins. It doesn't scream, it stirs. It speaks in coincidences that aren't coincidental. In conversations that crack open something you forgot you buried. In invitations that weren't planned, but arrive with perfect timing. You'll hear things like, "I don't know why I felt led to tell you this. I was just thinking about you. I feel like you're the one who can help." That's not random. That's assignment recognition. Because when heaven activates someone, the world begins to echo back that truth. People start seeing in you what you weren't even ready to claim out loud. It's like walking through a field and realizing the wind is following you. The signs show up in real time. The confirmation comes through you. This is when things start falling into place without you having to push them. Because you're finally in the flow of the thing you were born for. You'll start doing things that surprise even you. You'll speak up when you used to shrink back. You'll stand firm when you used to second guess. You'll choose rest without guilt, knowing you're not lazy. You're recharging divine machinery. You'll find yourself saying no to things that once defined you. Not out of bitterness, not because they were bad, but because they were small, and you're not playing small anymore. God is not just increasing your visibility, He's increasing your voltage. You'll begin to carry words that pierce, presence that calms, silence that convicts, and you won't even be trying. You'll just be. Because when you are activated, you are no longer auditioning, you're functioning. And here's what might surprise you. The first places God uses you won't always look glamorous. It might be one conversation that shifts someone's life, one comment that stops someone from giving up, one small yes that opens a door you didn't even know you were knocking on. Don't underestimate the hidden moments. Moses wasn't activated in Pharaoh's palace. He was activated in the wilderness, with nothing but a bush and a whisper. You too will feel it when God sets something on fire inside you that doesn't burn you, only purifies you. You'll also lose some things, but only what can't survive where you're going. Not everyone can breathe at the altitude you're headed toward. Some connections will feel confused by your calm. Others will mislabel your glow as ego. Let them. You weren't made to be understood by the masses. You were made to be used by the Most High. And when God decides it's your time, not even your own doubt can stop it. Because doubt is still going to rise from time to time, especially when you can't see how it's possible. But believe me, you'll understand, in the very situations themselves. You've passed through too many shadows to stay hidden. You've shed too many identities to go back to pretending. You've survived too many storms to still question your strength. You are being called up, not called out. Because this next chapter is a release. Like a seed cracking underground because it's time. So if your life feels like it's tightening, if your emotions are louder than usual, if your spirit is restless but somehow calm, don't panic, don't rush, don't sabotage. You are being positioned with surgical precision. And when it hits, it won't look like you expected. It will look like truth finally having a body to walk in. This is your activation. You're not waiting anymore. You're not preparing anymore. You're becoming. And very soon, you'll realize that everything that ever broke you was only shaping the weapon God is now ready to use. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There are moments in life where the pace seems normal, almost manageable. And then suddenly the ground starts moving, without warning, without permission. Not because something went wrong, but because something divine decided it's time. That's the kind of moment you're standing in right now. This isn't a season that knocks politely. This is the kind of blessing that barges in. It's not waiting for you to feel ready or to plan the perfect response. It's arriving on its own schedule because heaven just approved the release. And here's the thing most people won't tell you. When a blessing this big is on its way, it doesn't always feel good at first. Sometimes the interruption looks like a closed door. Sometimes it sounds like silence after you've prayed for clarity. And sometimes it shows up right in the middle of your attempt to get back to normal. Because what God's bringing won't fit inside your old routine. It's too large, too sacred, too alive. You've outgrown the shape of your current circumstances because the container was never meant to be permanent. Think of it like this. A hermit crab knows it's time to leave the shell when it gets too tight to breathe. Not when it's broken, not when someone pushes it out, but when the space that once felt safe becomes a place that slows it down. That pressure you've been feeling, that restlessness you haven't been able to shake, that's your signal. Your shell is too small now, and heaven is about to hand you a new one, larger, stronger, unexpected. But before you move into it, something sacred has to interrupt the pattern you've been trying to maintain. This blessing doesn't come dressed as comfort. It comes as collision. God is about to crash into your ordinary with something extraordinary. You won't need to force it. You won't need to fake excitement. Because the alignment will be so sharp, it'll feel like everything you once hoped for has finally caught up to you. And maybe you've been sensing it, like your spirit has been standing at the window, waiting for a sign that the next part of your life is on its way. Maybe you've even tried to go back to old rhythms, old relationships, old expectations, just to feel something familiar again. But nothing clicks anymore, does it? That's not your fault. That's the evidence. The version of you that was built for survival is now stepping aside. And the version of you that's built for overflow is being called forward. And God? He's not interested in slow introductions right now. He's moving like lightning, fast, clear, and impossible to ignore. This is not about proving you're ready. This is about realizing you've already been chosen. The storm you made it through, the healing you didn't think was possible, the patience it took to keep showing up when no one clapped, that was your preparation. But now it's time for an encounter. Not with another test, but with timing. You won't have to beg for it. You won't have to explain why you deserve it. Because this isn't a blessing you earn. It's a shift that was written before you even knew how to ask for it. It's the door that's been marked for you. The moment that was delayed, just to meet you in your fullness. And when it hits, you'll feel it in your chest before your mind can explain it. You'll speak words you didn't rehearse. You'll say yes without overthinking. Not because you're impulsive, but because your spirit will recognize the moment it was made for. This isn't just a breakthrough. It's a divine interruption, a holy disruption, a beautifully timed collision between your preparation and God's perfect plan. And it's already in motion. You know, sometimes a blessing doesn't walk in softly. It shows up like a thunderclap across your plans, like a sudden stillness in the middle of momentum, like a voice inside that whispers, "It's now." And even if everything outside still looks the same, something inside you already knows it's different now. Because this kind of shift doesn't need an audience to begin. It just needs your agreement. But don't get it twisted. Agreement doesn't mean performance. It means surrender. It means letting go of the backup plan you kept just in case this took too long. It means releasing the identity you built while you were waiting. Not because it was wrong, but because it was temporary. You've been carrying the weight of keeping it together longer than anyone knows. You've mastered the art of pushing through, smiling through confusion, showing up with answers when you were the one still full of questions. But now, the questions are fading. Not because everything suddenly makes sense, but because something deeper is waking up in you. A knowing, a rhythm that doesn't come from strategy, but from alignment. You're not just being led anymore. You're being activated, pushed, positioned. And yes, some things will fall apart as this blessing arrives. Not because you failed to hold them up, but because they were never meant to survive the impact of your rising. This kind of divine blessing doesn't just add to your life, it rearranges it. You might feel tired, but it's not exhaustion. It's the ache of expansion. Growth this sacred often comes with a stretch. It's your soul adjusting to the new space that was carved for you before the foundation of the world. And the reason this feels so intense right now, because you're not just receiving something, you're being entrusted with it. God doesn't bless chosen ones just to improve their comfort. He blesses them to expand their reach. You are being sent, not to impress, but to shift. That's why your presence has been getting louder lately, even when you're silent. That's why people have been drawn to your peace, even when you're unsure yourself. Even when you've been trying to stay small, the blessing won't let you. It's calling you out, into places you didn't feel ready for, into roles you didn't apply for, into conversations you didn't expect to carry so much weight. But here you are, and everything in you is rising to meet this moment, even the parts you tried to leave behind. That version of you that used to flinch at opportunity, they're gone. The one who needed constant reassurance before every step, they've grown quiet. Because something louder is speaking now. Your authority. It's not pride, it's not performance. It's the sound of someone who survived too much to keep asking for permission. And yes, there will be days when doubt still knocks. When the bigness of what you're walking into feels unfairly placed on your shoulders. But here's the truth. God wouldn't interrupt your life with this kind of blessing if He hadn't already buried the capacity to carry it inside you. You're not walking into this empty. You're walking in equipped. So don't be surprised when doors swing open without warning. Don't second-guess the timing just because it doesn't match your calendar. This is heaven's schedule now, and it doesn't consult fear. It doesn't wait for your confidence to catch up. It just moves and invites you to move with it. You've prayed for the overflow. You've wept for the kind of clarity that breaks generational cycles. Well, this is it. It may not look like the image you built in your mind. It may not arrive wrapped in the applause you imagined. But this blessing, it's customized. It's coded to your journey. And it's not just coming for you, it's coming through you. Others will be fed by this, healed by this, awakened by this. That's why it took so long. Because you were being prepared. And God says, now. Now, the blessing comes. Not to rescue you, to reveal you, to show the world what's been forming behind the scenes all along. So don't resist the shift. Don't cling to what was. The interruption has already begun. Let it rearrange you. Let it free you. Because when God interrupts, it's not to disturb your peace. It's to deliver your purpose. And you, my dear friend, are right on time. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. The God who guided a bird to its nest, who orchestrated the precise spin of atoms to birth a star, that same God took your hand long before you knew you needed holding. And He's still holding it now. So if lately you felt something unfamiliar stirring, a strange sensitivity, a low hum beneath your peace, a pull you can't quite explain. It's not confusion. It's trust trying to make a home inside you. We're taught to believe trust is soft, passive, a fallback for when logic gives up. But that's not what's happening here. What you're sensing is not weakness, it's calibration. Your spirit is learning how to move with the current, not against it. Because control is exhausting when your soul already knows the direction. And right now, something in you is remembering that the most sacred form of strength is surrender, not giving up, not checking out, but releasing the need to grip every step of the path when the one who wrote it is already walking beside you. It feels strange because you're used to striving. You're used to translating progress through exhaustion, measuring how far you've come by how much it's hurt. But something deeper is rising now, and it's not asking for your hustle, it's asking for your presence. That's why the things you used to force no longer move. Why the doors you've knocked on feel silent. Why even your own voice feels quieter than it used to. Because you've entered a different room. This is the part of the journey where the old tools stop working. Not because they were wrong, but because you're being taught a different rhythm. A new way of creating, a new way of choosing, a new way of listening. And that transition is not passive, it's powerful. You're not floating without direction. You're aligning with divine velocity. There's a reason your timing has been disrupted. A reason why plans shifted, why people disappeared, why opportunities came close but didn't quite land. It's not sabotage, it's redirection by a higher intelligence. And yes, sometimes that divine flow will confuse your logical mind. It will reroute your steps. It will take longer than you were told. But it will never take you somewhere you weren't designed to go. You've been feeling that, haven't you? That subtle ache in the soul that says, I know I'm not done here, but I don't know what's next either. You're right. You're not done. And the not knowing is not your enemy. It's the space where miracles build muscle. See, God isn't interested in just returning you to what you lost. He's rebuilding something in you that couldn't exist before the break, before the silence, before the pause. And you're not late. You're right on time for the version of life that actually fits you now. Let me offer you this. It's like learning to walk again, but underwater. Everything familiar feels slower, heavier. Even breathing takes intention. But eventually, your body adapts. And you realize the environment didn't change to punish you. It changed to strengthen parts of you that gravity could never reach. That's where you are now. Building depth, learning breath, discovering that just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's stagnant. You're being held, not because you're fragile, but because you're valuable. And no, God hasn't changed his mind about you. You haven't disqualified yourself. You haven't missed it. You're not behind. You're in flow, and it's uncomfortable because your spirit was trained in resistance. But now you're being invited into partnership, to act with the wind, not against it, to pray not only with your words but with your posture, to create not from panic but from alignment. This is not you fading. This is you recalibrating to match the frequency of what's next. And the same God who formed galaxies from dust is still forming the next chapter inside of you. You know, it's not about waiting forever for some grand arrival. It's about recognizing that the shift has already begun. Maybe it wasn't loud. Maybe it didn't come with celebration or clarity. But if you pay attention, really pay attention, you'll realize some things already don't feel the same. The way you used to bend your tone just to sound more digestible, it doesn't come naturally anymore. The way you once scanned the room for signs of acceptance before speaking your truth, it feels like a strange costume now, one you forgot why you ever wore. Even the relationships you used to twist yourself to maintain, they feel too small, too strained. Not because you've become cold, but because you've become clear. And no, this doesn't mean it all feels comfortable. Transformation rarely announces itself with trumpets. Most of the time, it's quiet. It slips into your life like a new key on a familiar piano. And suddenly, nothing sounds the same anymore. You may still be in the same house, wearing the same clothes, clocking into the same job, but the inside of you knows. Something moved, and it won't let you pretend anymore. That's not restlessness, that's revelation. And it's not telling you to abandon your life, it's telling you to see it differently. To walk through your own days like someone who remembers, God is not finished here. With your story, with your gifts, with your healing, with your voice, you are not at the end. You are standing in the middle of holy redefinition. This is the part where nothing feels clear yet, but your roots are deeper than they've ever been. Because trust is no longer a word you say when you're scared. It's a posture you carry when nothing looks certain. And this kind of trust, it doesn't need to perform or impress. It just stays, present, aligned. God isn't rushing you. He's refining you. Not because you're broken, but because the blessing He's building through you requires a foundation that won't crack under pressure. You've been noticing it, haven't you? The way your tolerance for noise has dropped. The way you can sense energy without anyone saying a word. How silence no longer feels empty, just sacred. That's discernment, not burnout. That's your soul no longer being available for things that dilute its assignment. That's the Spirit pulling you closer, away from the distractions that once kept you spinning, and into the steadiness of who you were always meant to be. It's not about striving harder, it's about staying present longer, because you can't miss what's already marked for you, but you can miss the joy of walking with God through the becoming. And maybe that's the whole point, not to just arrive someday, but to live in such deep alignment that you can recognize the sacredness of now, even in the unfinished, even in the awkward middle, even when you're still cleaning up the last version of yourself while glimpsing the outline of who you're becoming. God is in all of it. The transition, the tension, the tenderness. He didn't step back while you waited. He leaned in, closer than your breath, more familiar than your doubt, more constant than the chaos. So no, you're not behind. You're not less spiritual because you still cry sometimes. You're right where you're supposed to be, in the middle of a divine build that's taking shape from the inside out. And you're doing better than you think. You didn't lose your momentum. You found your stillness. You didn't lose your passion. You just stopped pouring it into places that couldn't carry your calling. And most importantly, you didn't fall behind. You fell into alignment. And God isn't done with you, not even close. So keep walking, keep listening, keep breathing with intention, keep acting from alignment, not anxiety. Because the kind of life God is shaping for you doesn't require you to be perfect, just willing. Willing to stay open, willing to flow, willing to believe that maybe, just maybe, the same God who formed constellations and calmed storms is still writing your next sentence and smiling while He does it, because He knows this chapter will be the one that makes sense of all the others. And it starts right here, right now. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Your name didn't begin here. It was spoken long before any human called it, not in a hospital room, not on a birth certificate, but in the presence of power, when eternity cracked open and light whispered to light, This one will change everything. That was you. You were not summoned into this world by chance. You were assigned. And the assignment was sealed in what some call myth, but those with eyes to see know as truth, the ancient scrolls. I'm not talking about dusty books or legends passed through mouths. I'm talking about a sacred record, the kind that only spirit can translate, the kind your soul has been decoding in dreams, synchronicities, sudden knowings that you can't explain. You didn't learn them, you remembered them, and now that memory is waking up, stronger, louder, more undeniable than ever. Because the scrolls that held your name have been opened, and this moment is the unfolding. Let me be clear. You are not here to be the same as anyone. You're not here to echo what's already been said, to mimic what others have done, or to chase a version of success that was never designed for you. You are here because something was broken, something ancient, and your soul volunteered to be the repair. Even if you don't feel ready, even if the road has been brutal, even if no one sees it in you yet, the divine saw it first. And that's why your life hasn't made sense by the world's rules. It was never supposed to. Because the moment your soul signed that contract to enter this timeline, the war started. Not the kind with bullets. The kind that comes for your confidence, your clarity, your voice. You've walked through attacks no one saw, lost battles no one even knew you were fighting, nights where you cried for something you couldn't name because it wasn't pain of this lifetime, it was memory from a mission you agreed to long before your first breath. And still you rise. You keep hearing a call even when you try to ignore it. You keep surviving even when you think you're done. You keep sensing that you're meant for something, that no one else around you seems to understand. That's not delusion. That's divine data, and it's activating now. Because this is not a season of guessing, it's a season of decoding. The signs around you, the dreams, the delays, the doors slamming shut, they aren't detours, they're alignments. You've been trying to get clarity from the world, but your clarity was sealed in spirit. And it's unfolding now, line by line, just like it was written somewhere in you, you know. You were never here just to survive. You were here to resurrect, not just yourself, but generations. That's why your bloodline feels heavy some days. It's not because you're broken. It's because you're carrying what others never could. But you weren't sent here to be crushed by it. You were sent here to complete it. You are the punctuation mark at the end of a long sentence of suffering. The final word in a chapter of silence. You are the turn in the story. And I know you've questioned it. You've said, "Why me?" more times than you can count. But the truth is, it had to be you. Because you don't fake what you feel. You don't run when it gets hard. You've walked through darkness with your eyes wide open and still chosen to keep your heart soft. That's royalty. And that's why the scrolls chose you. Not for perfection, but for willingness, for devotion, for endurance. The kind of endurance that can't be taught, only earned. The kind you gain from being underestimated your whole life and still rising with grace. Let me say something that might hit different. You were protected by being hidden. You were preserved through your loneliness. You were trusted with pain because the divine knew you would turn it into healing. And now you are being revealed, slowly, precisely, like a sealed scroll finally unrolling. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs remembrance. It needs the kind of presence that shifts timelines, not through volume, but through alignment. And that's what you are. You are not just the message. You are the messenger. The kind the old ones prayed for. The kind that disrupts spiritual amnesia just by standing in your truth. And if you've been feeling tired lately, not just physically but spiritually, like something in you is laboring to break free, it's because it is. You are not evolving anymore, you are erupting. And the eruption was always part of the prophecy. You're not in the waiting room anymore, you're in the unveiling. And it's not about waiting for another sign, another confirmation, another reason to believe. The reason is you. You are the scroll unsealing itself. And right now, you're walking through a very sacred moment. The moment where everything in your life, every betrayal, every delay, every invisible battle, suddenly rearranges itself into a divine map. One you couldn't read before because you were still becoming the one meant to hold it. See, you weren't being delayed. You were being decoded. And now, even the silence has started to make sense. The people who left, the doors that stayed shut, the seasons where it felt like heaven forgot your name. They were preparations for this frequency. You were never meant to rise fast. You were meant to rise right. And now, the air feels different. Even your reflection in the mirror looks unfamiliar. Because the version of you that stayed small to survive doesn't fit anymore. The version that needed to explain yourself, beg to be understood, prove you were worthy, that version didn't make it through the fire. But you did. And this you, the one that's walking forward now, was never supposed to play polite while your soul screamed for more. This is the version that remembers. The one that doesn't chase, doesn't shrink, doesn't fold. The one that's no longer asking, "Who am I?" but instead declaring, "I know why I'm here." And that knowing, that's power. Not the kind that demands attention, the kind that holds space and shifts atmospheres with presence alone. You don't need a crown. Your survival is your royalty. Your scars are your lineage. Your wisdom is your inheritance. And your alignment is your throne. Because let's be honest, most people would have folded under what you carried. They would have broken under the weight you called normal. But you found a way to turn collapse into clarity. And that's why you're dangerous to the darkness now. You'll be called to speak what others won't say, to walk where others won't go, to love in a way that looks foolish to those who've given up on their hearts. But that's what happens when your mission is sacred. You stop living for applause and start moving like a storm wrapped in stillness. Let me give you a final truth, and it's not soft. You weren't made to play the healer in someone else's comfort cycle. You weren't created to be a trophy for those who only love your light when it doesn't outshine theirs. Nor were you meant to prove your goodness in broken rooms. You are the answer, the shift. You are the scroll they were hoping wouldn't be real, because your awakening challenges their illusions. And now that it's open, there's no going back. So breathe in your own frequency, move with your own rhythm, and trust the rise, even when it shakes everything around you. Because this rise, it's not fragile, it's divine, it's been building for lifetimes, and now it's undeniable. You are the rebirth of a soul that's been rehearsing this role across dimensions. And today is the opening night. No more hiding, no more pretending to be less than what the scrolls declared. Your name has been called, and the next chapter begins, with you stepping fully into the power that has always been yours. Not borrowed, not mimicked, not requested, but written. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.